boy, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the Chinese Terran player himself representing Invictus Gaming. Just took down Gogo Joey 2-0. It is XY. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing Mystery Gaming, the up-and-comer himself. It is SCV. Now, it's gonna get real weird. I've never casted SCV before. It's gonna get real weird when he kills SCVs, and I have to try to refer to SCVs dying, but SCV winning, and it's gonna get real weird. It's gonna aye. What we need SCV to have a show match against Probe. That's all we need. Aye. And where's Drone? Where is the drone in all of this? Smooge, papi, smooge. I just want my drone. Until then, we are going to be seeing some pretty standard openers overall. I say standard. XY is going to be going for a Rax Expand, something a little bit more economic and greedy, something not really too common. Like, it is more common to go for double gas openers in this matchup. So XY just looking to be more economic to begin with. Forced to throw down the CC a little bit out of position off center, but it's okay because Terran can lift their buildings and reposition afterwards. So just a little bit inefficient here from XY, as he does have to, you know, invest some time in repositioning his CC. Outside of that, he is going to be going for that Reaper first. I believe no SCV Scout. Yep, no SCV Scout whatsoever, so he's going to be relying on this Reaper to go across the map and figure out what is going on. Meanwhile, we do have a Protoss player that is new to me. I have not had the luxury of casting SCV before, even though we've been casting the regionals for China for many years at this point. 2020, 2021, and 2022, we have been a part of the main broadcast for DreamHack, at least back then. And SCV is a new face. He hasn't been able to make it that far or even this far before, so this is a bit of a breakout performance for him. Can he go all the way? Can he prove himself against one of the more veteran players here? I would hope so. It's always great to see young players kind of rise up above and really prove themselves and kind of shake up the scene a little bit. Always exciting. Always exciting. Oh. Just, you know, showing that pylon who's boss a little bit. Just making sure it knows what's up. Waking it up as well. As the first step is going to be going across the map as well behind the mineral line to try and pick up some of these SCVs. Quick reaction out of XY does fill up that bunker, does save his workers, but we will have a little bit of lost mine time here in the natural, but only for a couple of seconds, as XY is going to be able to clean up everything else. Meanwhile, across the map, XY is dipping into the main base for the first time here. He finally sees the tech. He does confirm not just the Twilight Council, but also sees it researching as well in the main. Confirms the blink. And the real question is, how many gates? How many gates are we getting? We have 2 in the natural. Sorry, that's a robo. 1 in the natural, 1 in the main base. Only 2 to begin with. Going straight into that robo. And we should be seeing at least 1 more. 2 more. Oh my god. Okay, we have a 4-gate Blink Stalker opener here from SCV. Oh, never mind. He was thinking about it. Okay. Is going for the more economic variant. 4-gate is aggressive, it's committed, and you have to go across the map to deal some damage. 3-gate is designed just for map control, and we take a faster third base behind it. There we go. The third is being prioritized. So SCV, he was thinking about maybe being a little bit more aggressive, thought better of it in the end. Oh. Meanwhile, we do have a bit of a mine drop here on the left-hand side, dipping in towards the main base. Headed in that direction. With Blink Stalkers, we are in position in between the main and the natural, so even though we don't see it coming, we don't have any spotters, we will be able to react in time if SCV has the reactions for that, if he can keep up with the multi-prong. go. The mine is going to be zooming on in, and oh, we blink to the natural. Uh-oh, that is not the right direction, Papi. Oh, the mine shots are going to be going off as well. Late reaction, but only 3 SCVs go down. But what's important is that the mines are saved and they can go in again at a later date. Liberator's on the way as well. This lib is going to be spotted by this observer, so this time SCV is going to be in position. Up, up. Ooh, barely in range to shut down that lib. At the same time, the mine drop comes back into the natural. Couple of seconds away from resetting, but there we go. 2 more drones go down. Probes even. SCVs. Ay, ay, ay. Up. Ooh. XY trying to be a little bit cheeky there, but he does manage to lose everything in the end. We did end up picking off 6 probes in total. Not too bad for 2 mines, but we did lose the medevac, so that is a little bit unfortunate for XY. I'm sure he would have loved to have made it back home with that drop, with that medevac. Meanwhile, back at home, we already have that 30C up and running. XY going to be looking to take his third momentarily. We have the rest of our production as well. Again, XY just looking to get into a more macro-oriented game. And this is all confirmed by the observer. Gets into the main, sees the CCs, sees the production. Oh, but pays for it with its life. Also, with the death of that observer, that means we don't have any high ground vision, so we can't really blink into the main, we can't really abuse this location with these stalkers. We're just kind of chilling here, waiting for any kind of move out. As upon seeing the third being taken, SCV just takes a fourth. Yeah, he's just going to be taking another base from here. We're taking up even further. We have charge. We have +1 on the way. The bay has been thrown down, and we are commencing Colossus production. The first is on the way. So a pretty standard setup here from our Protoss. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy indeed. Oh. And yeah, we just get a scan just to confirm the production, the army as well. It looks like the scan should run out just before the Colossus reveals itself. But I believe XY saw the bay. Oh no, he did not. Never mind. XY is going to be moving out. He's going to be hitting a pretty strong timing with stim and +1. This is spotted by the stalkers, and the goal here for SCV is to slow this push down, maybe even force a siege, but it looks like he doesn't really feel too confident, and I'm worried because we only have 1 Colossus. Ay, ay, ay. 1 Colossus is not enough to stop this, by the way. We need a little bit more time. We need at least a second, maybe even a third. XY just waiting for some reinforcements. Again, slow and steady wins the race. We see a scan. The 4th base has been confirmed. The army hasn't been seen though, so XY again, he's just looking for that position. Looking for the Colossi. Pre-spreading his army here. We see a bit of a zealot run by head towards the 3rd base. There's nothing here to defend. Boy, XY is not going to be ready for this. Here we go. He does respond with his reinforcements. Quick pull from those SCVs. XY not being caught with his pants down. Oh, but speaking of, at the same time, we do see SCV diving on top of this army, but the tanks! Oh, the tanks get so many volleys off. 6 tanks, mate. Ay, ay, ay. Pushing in was not the best idea for SCV. Zealot Runby has been cleaned up. 5 SCVs went down, but now XY can focus on his main push. We do have 1 disruptor, but only 1. A 3rd Colossi is on the way. XY leapfrogging forward. Ugh. Getting ever closer. We have another warp into Zealot. It looks like we're going for a run by here. Bold move by SCV. I feel like we need everything here to defend as the tanks are wedging themselves in between the natural and the 3rd. Well, the target firing, the disruptor goes down. We only have Colossi remaining, and XY, he has free reign of this 3rd base. At the same time, we have that Zealot run by. Once again, not really much here to defend. Ooh, but SCV is going to be losing a base. And reinforcements are going to be able to clean up that Zealot run by. Oh boy, and because of this positioning, SCV is just going to have a really hard time pushing in. We do have a Nova going up, but it is dodged. At the same time, 16 workers went down. That's a lot of, that's more than I thought would happen. Definitely. So a great Zealot run by, to be honest. Dealing a surprising amount of damage. And here we go. We blink on forward. The Zealots are trying to dive on top of these tanks as well. One of them is unsieged. Oh, but 3 tanks still survive. They stand strong. Oh, these Marines have to be very careful. 3 Colossi is still nothing to scoff at, even with the supply advantage. Oh, but pushing into these tank lines just doesn't seem to be the wisest choice for SCV. He pops the overcharge, but a couple of Marines are split off to go towards the natural. SCV, he just can't keep up here with the movement of XY. +2 is going to be denied. Marines are pushing on in. They do focus down the Disruptor. Nova just go off. But again, the Disruptor goes down. GG gets called, and XY takes game number 1. In a pretty convincing fashion. XY didn't really do anything too special. You know, he got his 3rd base on time, opened up with a bit of a Widowmine drop as well. Nothing too fancy with like Ravens or anything, just solid macro play out of XY. And unfortunately, SCV just wasn't quite set up to deal with that. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to slow down the army and stop him from just kind of wedging himself in between the bases. We also only had a single robot producing. We didn't have a second robot for like double disruptor production. Oh. He had a hard time getting there. Meanwhile, I have a bit of a sad update here. Sad because I'm kind of a fan myself. Raza, the Pakistani Terran player living in the UK, he is unfortunately eliminated from the qualifier. Kingslayer takes him out 2-0. Oof. My condolences to Raza. You know, he's been a bit of a fan favorite here on this channel. He shows up in the chat from time to time. He's married. He's expecting as well. Shout out to Raza. He's about to, well, he's not going to be with child, but Raza's wife is about to be with, or is with child. And yeah, Raza, you know, he's about to start a family. He's a great guy, wholesome, very wholesome. Unfortunately, won't be a part of the closed qualifier. Sorry, of the main event. Unfortunately, GG. If you're listening, Raza, you know, I wish you the best. I wish you the best with your new family. You know, with everything that's been going on. Less than three. Oh. But I don't want to get too sentimental. We are going to be progressing here with this tournament, with this best of 5. Looks like some of the players are just going to be taking a moment here just to prepare. Oh, sorry, I didn't get to mention you earlier, but yo, shout out to Wooman12 in the chat for resubscribing for 2 months. Happy Easter, love the stream. Yo, happy Easter, everyone. Happy Easter, long weekend as well. Hope everyone is enjoying themselves, having a break, having a bit of a vacation, or even just, you know, chilling back at home, watching some StarCraft, enjoying life. Take care, everyone. Take care, as we are going to be continuing here tonight with the closed qualifier. Catching up. Meanwhile, here we go. We're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gressvan. We have the Chinese Terran player representing Invictus Gaming, currently up 1-0 in this best of 5 qualifying match. It is Gressvan. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressvan, we have his opponent. We have an up-and-comer, the young blood, the new face on the scene representing Mystery Gaming. It's the Chinese Protoss. It is SCV. Boy, here we go. Here we go. Sorry, I was just catching up in the chat now that we had a little bit of downtime, but now we're diving into game 2, and again, XY, he's the favorite for a reason. He's the veteran for a reason. He did make his book for a reason. Just very solid macro play here from our Chinese Terran, and honestly, why not do it again? You know, there was just nothing really special about it. He was just able to really assert his dominance overall over SCV. And it's going to be on our Protoss to mix things up and try to throw a wrench in the works here. Honestly, I kind of wish he did open up 4-gate, just so he can be a little bit more aggressive, just so he can put the pressure on XY and see what breaks, see where his weaknesses are. Once again, we do see the CC being forced a little bit off position, out of position, off center here. Not the biggest of deals. Again, XY can always lift this up once it's done and reposition it, but you know, a slight little win here for SCV. Just forcing a little bit of inefficiency out of his opponent. As from here, we're just getting into our standard play. Once again, we have a Rax expand from XY, so very economic overall. Very macro-oriented, as to be expected from the mindset of the king. It's all about the mindset, papi. And for the second game in a row, SCV is going to be going for a Twilight Council opening. Interesting, interesting. Okay, Gressvan is maybe a larger map that you can actually take advantage of going for something like a Stargate opener. I'm not too fond of these Twilight Council openers just because there's only one entrance into the main. It's not the biggest main out there. I guess it is a little bit larger. You do require a little bit more attention here to have vision of this area of the main, but yeah, we'll see if SCV can abuse this in any way and try and take advantage of the terrain, of the layout of this map. We shall see. Again, the big question, how many gates? How many gates are we going to be seeing from SCV across the map? We're getting into our standard 1-1-1. We have Widowmine production. We should be getting into another mine drop as well. As XY is moving out with his first handful of units here, just to get his scout off. He hasn't really seen much of anything, but with this Reaper, he should at least confirm at the Twilight Council, as it is a part of that wall. There we go. Does confirm it. Does see it researching as well, so he knows all about the blink. Knows that he doesn't have to worry about defending against an Oracle or Phoenixes back at home. He is safe to go for his build, and oh, from here, once again, we do have a pretty fast third base from SCV. Much faster even than the last game. Okay, just expanding off of 2 gateways. I mean, honestly, XY can't really do anything about it, so I do kind of like this from SCV. He's going to be trying to meet the greed and the economy of XY and try and supersede him. You know, XY just following this up with a 3-rack setup. Again, everything quite standard. The mine drop is moving out across the map, and hopefully this time SCV can react a little bit faster, a little bit better here. I see, oh my god, he's going straight into a bay as well. Very greedy play from SCV. Not just going for a gigafast third, but also a gigafast tech as well, off of only 2 gateways. With this, he can rush into Colossus that much faster. Meanwhile, before that happens, we do have a mine drop into the main base. We have a reaction, and this time the Stalkers are in position. Ooh. The first mine shot goes off into the gas geyser. Doesn't deal any damage. The second mine also goes down without getting borrowed. At the same time, the Hellion and the Reaper try to poke into the natural base, but no, they are fended off by an Adept. This time, the defense is much better for SCV. Looking at the vision, probably the most important thing, the bay hasn't been scouted. The bay was not spotted by the mine drop or by the Hellion or the Reaper. And as a result, mate, SCV, he's getting away with murder already here. The first Colossus is in production. We have 2 more gates behind this as well. Because of how fast these Colossi are, again, any kind of early buyer push is just going to crumble in the face of SCV. Meanwhile, we just see him just posturing out here in the middle of the map. Doesn't really have too many Stalkers to speak of. Again, just because of his low gateway count. He's just going to be looking to keep an eye out for any kind of big move out from XY. He's going to be missing that drop though. XY is actually switching things up. Oh, we do have high ground vision. He goes for the Tech Lab. Up. Will deny combat shields. I'm sure he was hoping it was Stim. I'm sure he's praying it was Stim, but Stim will finish. Regardless, a nice pick off here, especially considering how few Stalkers we have, to be honest. But XY is mixing things up. And if you notice, no tanks. No tanks in production. We're focusing a lot more on Marine Marauder. We have Widowmines to help supplement. And we even opened up with a Raven, so we're going to have a Disable available here for those Colossi. So a much more maneuverable army, much more flexible as well. Oh boy. And as the third CC is on the way, SCV just takes his fourth immediately. Like, he is just trying to get away with so much greed, cutting so many corners, working up to 4 bases when XY is still only on 2. I like it. I like it, Puppy. I like it. I mean, again, it's one of those things where you got to do something to make up for potentially a skill difference, whether it's being hyper aggressive and being cheesy and catching XY off guard, or by just being hyper greedy and just having a better economy. Better economy and better tech. We already have 3 Colossus at this point. They have arrived. And as XY is moving out, unfortunately, I don't think he really expects to see such a high Colossus count. I don't think he can push in. Oh, here we go. He's actually going to be going for a mine drop at the same time. A marine drop into the main base. The tri-prong attack is upon us. Marines into the main. There is a shield battery and a cannon, so we do see the army respond in time. At the same time, the main force is going to be laying siege upon the 4th base. And where are the Colossus? The Colossus are not in position. The 4th goes down. Honestly, I do think that this army of SCV could have deflected the forces of XY if only he had been where he needed to be. Unfortunately, just a little bit busy with that 1 drop. Meanwhile, we have another mine drop headed in towards the natural. Same time, SCV, sorry, Zealot run by, gonna be getting a couple of SCVs. We do have the mines! Up, up, up! Ooh. 3 SCVs going down. I mean, 3 probes. God. I can't say anything, Poppy. I can't say it. 3 probes going down. 4 SCV. God damn it. Not too bad, not too bad. Does handle his drop quite well, to be honest. Handle his defense even. And XY, I'm sure he's very happy with killing this 4th base and backing off. Again, I do believe that SCV could have been in position to deflect that and to have a bit of a stronger defense in general. So that fast 4th is just no longer a possibility here. Oh, as we actually don't have detection. We don't have detection. There we go. Observer is on the way. We have a 2nd robo on the way as well to help deal with all these borrowed mines. Thank God, I was really worried that the prism would go over this mine here on the right-hand side. Thankfully, it will not. At the same time, the Zealot run-by is about to be intercepted by XY. It's not going to be done dirty. Not by this. Up. Oh, nice blinks. Smooth moves here from SCV, just trying to deal with all these mines. The mines, they don't just deal damage, but they're also scouting. They're giving XY some information about the army movement. He's aware that the army is in the middle of the map somewhere. XY's going to be getting in position. There we go. He goes for the scan. He does spot it. At the same time, that prison that we saw earlier slips into the main base. Massive Zealot warping into the main. Oh, and XY has to react. He has to respond. At the same time, SCV is pushing in. Looks like the reinforcements are going to be able to clean up the majority of those Zealots. At the same time, the Colossi laying siege upon the 3rd base. The Disruptors have arrived. Oh, we're waiting for the Novas. Up, 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 up. Oh, nice force fields as well. Catching so many of these SCVs out. Nice EMPs. Both Novas are sent out, but unfortunately, we don't really get the connections that we need. And SCV's just going to get the hell out of here. In one fell swoop, he takes down 30 SCVs. And he doesn't really lose anything. He lost a Disruptor. 1 Disruptor for 30 SCVs, well worth it here. And now XY is up against the wall right now. Again, because he didn't go for tanks, he just doesn't really have he didn't have a really strong defensive line. He's going for all these Vikings instead. They can take down all these Colossi. We also have that Raven for the disable on the Disruptors. But his army is so fragile, with how heavily reliant it is on Marines and Marauders. And XY is going to be looking to go for a bit of a run-by. He is going to be spotted by this pylon. SCV is going to be able to react. At the same time, the main army is coming in towards the southern portion of the map. He's going to be running into this Zealot run-by. Oh, oh, they do spot each other. Where SCV is hunting down this force. It looks like he finds it. He takes down the medevac, takes down a second medevac as well. There is no escape. Oh, and ghosts are going down. At the same time, it looks like we're just going to be laying siege upon this third, but the zealots are here. And that's a lot of zealots. Oh my god, a bit of a blunder with that anti-armor missile. Does connect with a lot of the bio instead. I guess the zealots as well. And it's going to be able to take a fight here. At the same time, the third base goes down. The main army of SCV is across the map. He goes for the recall. Feels bad, man. The disruptor is left behind. But SCV, because of his greed earlier, because of his army, how robust it is, I don't think XY can really do anything to him. I mean, sure, he's got a lot of Vikings. Sure, he's got some ghosts. But there are actually 0 ghosts with this army. Oh, SCV, he is up 40 supply, 50 supply. He is maxed. The Vikings are they're gonna be doing their part, but the Novas, oh, the Novas are gonna be going off, and the connections are gonna be good enough, more than good enough. The Stalkers blink on forward. We have some VMPs, but GG gets called, and SCV takes game number 2 and fights back in this series. Ooh, GG. Oh boy, I was worried that this was going to be a little bit more one-sided. I was concerned that XY would just come in and 3-0 and call it a day. But no, SCV is not one to be taken lightly. He is a terrifying opponent himself. And especially if he is allowed to get into his game, to get his Colossi, his Disruptors, a well-rounded army, he can go toe-to-toe with the best of them. A lot of this also has to do with XY's army composition. As we saw, it was a little bit more of like a glass cannon sort of style, with the mass mine, with the marine, with the marauder, with the ghost. It's a kind of army composition that you want to try and go for multi-prong and go and try and pull apart your opponent. Go for all these drops into the main, into the third, into the fourth, and pull apart your opponent. Try to spread or stretch their attention thin, as thinly as possible. Alas, XY was not able to do so. Not this time. And now, we have a series. We're tied up 1-1, and we're getting into game number 3. Oh boy. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. But yes, for those wondering, exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Get a look at some of those results that are going to be coming in. Again, a lot of matches are going on at once here, and we will be having another qualifying match after this. Hopefully, we can catch some more of that Go-Go Joey action. Personally, I would love that. But we'll see if we can get there, because spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the Chinese Terran player representing Invictus Gaming IG. It is XY. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponents. We have the young blood, the up and comer, the blue Protoss representing Mystery Gaming. It is SCV. SCV showing us that if he is allowed to get into a pretty stable economy and a pretty stable army, he can take it to the best of them. He can take it to XY if he can get there. That is a big if. Meanwhile, XY did mix things up with his army composition, did try to go for a different style overall. That more flexible style. But alas, because of that, it does require a lot more attention. It does require a lot more APM to go for all these multi-pronged drops and harassments and to try and pick apart your opponents. It is a lot more difficult to pull off. It's all fun. It's a lot of fun though, to be fair. It is a lot of fun. You can be quite active as XY. The mindset of the week. He goes for an Angie block across the map. Going to be forcing a reaction here. Boys are being pulled, and the NG Bay is only halfway done. If it was any more, then I'm sure we would have seen an unnatural natural out of SCV. Instead, he's going to be delayed. He's forced to chrono out a Zealot and clean up this NG Bay. Meanwhile, across the map, we do have a Rax Expand set up. but we're delaying the CC. Oh, there is no CC. We have a factory. Oh, there's a KK. The CC is on the high ground. Meanwhile, because we're delaying our Nexus here, SCV wants to be the aggressor as well. He goes for a proxy pylon across the map. How many gates are we going to have to work with here? We're going to have 3 gate aggression if he does throw down another gateway across the map, and he will. He will. How the turns do table. So a couple of things have happened here. One, this CC was delayed quite heavily from XY. It is safely tucked away in the main base, but we have prioritized Hellion production instead. We have a starport on the way. We have a bit of a SCV, oh sorry, I was about to say a Hellion drop setup, but we have a tech lab on the way as well. We'll see kind of what this comes to fruition to. How this comes to fruition. Oof. As both players are looking to be far more aggressive than they ever have been in this series. Zealot shows up, but the Hellions are going to be able to help deal with this. Scouting wise, looking at the vision, it looks like the Zealot was able to confirm the CC on the high ground. The racks, the factory hasn't spotted that starport as we are going for that drop. It's going to be a mine drop though, not Hellions. The Hellions are just going to be looking for map control, looking to pick off whatever they can. As from here, we have a robo opener? What? Oh my god, 3 stalkers being warped in at a time across the map. With this robo, we can go into a prism and just basically have pseudo blink with the army of SCV. The stalkers have arrived and they're going to be able to pick off SCV after SCV. The Marines are going to be going down as well. The mines have to turn back around and go home. And XY is in trouble. Oh, being forced to stay on one base economy. Not just that, he was investing into an armory. He was giga committed here. He was so committed to the mine drop, to the mine harass. He's got to go across the map, and here we go. Only 2 mines are headed across the map. Detection will be required, but we already have an observer. How? How does he know? Ay, ay, ay. We will have detection to help clean up these mines. Stalker is still taking control of the natural base. The mines are headed into the main. The observer is moving out. We will hopefully be able to recall it back home. And here we go. Is he looking? Oh, he is looking. Pulls back just in time. 1 probe is going to go down. And meanwhile, another mine in towards the natural. Oh. And the observer has made it back. But mate, you may have an observer, but can you deal with this drop is the question. The medevac is taking a couple of hits, but the reality is we don't have a Twilight Council. We don't have Blink. From here, we can get into a fast Bay and fast Colossus, but we'll see how that goes. As the Stalkers are moving on forward here, picking up whatever they can. They do get an SCV. Up. Ugh, for the cost of a Stalker. I don't know if this is the best trades here for SCV. Meanwhile, the mine drop comes back in. Oh, and we have a late reaction. 9 more probes go down. And again, because we don't have Blink, this drop, it can just keep coming back and forth. Nothing to stop it. Nothing at all. XY has regained control of his natural base. These past couple of moments have been very chaotic. It's been very back and forth. After all said and done though, where is the tech? There it is. There's the bay. So we can get into relatively fast Colossus. This bay is late though. This should have been thrown down far sooner, far earlier. Unfortunately, SCV was a little bit distracted because of all the mine harass, because of all of his own harass across the map as well. So just a really awkward opener for our Protoss. Speaking of being awkward, here we go. 2 Adepts, 3 Adepts get into the natural base. They don't really get too much damage done. Ooh. SCV being a little bit wasteful here with his units. Just a little bit. And typically what we would see here is maybe going into a disruptor drop. Like some way to be active on the map, but we have that's why I council on the way. Are we going to rush into the disruptors? No. We're going into the Colossus. Oh boy. And yeah, from here, things are going to be settling down a little bit. I do still favor XY. You may be looking at the workers and be like, oh, but no, the Protoss is ahead in probes. Technically true, but that's not really how the economy works in this game. Because of the mules, XY is in a bit of a better position. The Protoss is supposed to be ahead in workers and supposed to be ahead in bases. We do have that third on the way. Meanwhile, XY, still no third CC in sight. Interesting. XY is about to have a pretty strong timing. He's going to have Stim, Combat Shields, +1, Concussive Shell. We may not go for a third CC. XY may be looking to move out. We still only have 3 Raxes though, so I'm not totally convinced. We'll see if he throws down 2 more Raxes or that CC. He's just looking to see if it's safe to do so. Moving out with his Marines. Meanwhile, back at home, the Colossus count is getting higher and higher. We already have 1. We're about to have 2. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way. The third base is slowly getting up and running here for SCV. We see a scan and the Colossus has been revealed. And now with that information, XY has to make a choice. Does he pull the boys? The answer is no, but he is moving out with everything he's got. A very strong timing. Looking at the units, we've got 4 of these tanks. Oh my god, another mine drop comes in! Despite the cannon being in position, but at the same time we have the force fields and XY cannot get up this ram. 7 probes go down, but the defense is solid, and with that one swift move, I feel like XY can't really commit anymore. He lost so many of his Marines. There we go, he's throwing down his third CC on location behind this. He needs to be aggressive, he needs to be in the face of SCV. Oh. Another mine drop threatening to go into the natural. Is going to be borrowing into the third mineral line. You love to see it. Tanks getting in position. How many tanks do we have? We have 6 tanks now in total for XY. 3 probes do go down to that mine. And I don't really think XY can take a fight, but he's kind of containing his opponent here on his 3 bases. Giving himself the freedom to expand and take that third. A couple of Marines are peeled off here on the right-hand side to pick up whatever they can. They get a Zealot. It's okay. It's okay. One Zealot goes down. Oh, we do have a couple of hallucinations coming in, and SCV wants to break this. How good is the tank fire here? It looks like the Colossus are being focused down. Oh my god, pushing into 6 tanks is not the way, papi. It is not the way. The hallucination was cute, don't get me wrong. But XY also saw it. He was aware. Great target firing from his tanks. And just not enough of a ground army here for SCV. It looks like the third base is exposed. And SCV can't really do anything about it. He's pushing once again into the tank line. Oh, but he loses everything in sight. GG gets called, and XY will take game number 3 and takes the lead in this series. Oof. Aye, aye, aye. Again, a very chaotic start to the game where we had like a 3-gate opener from the Protoss, but we also had like a committed armory mine drop from XY. A lot going on at the start of that game. Once things settled down, again, SCV did take a little bit too much economic damage in the end, and he took too long to tech up as well. Oh. Wasn't really able to get into the swing of things. He had a great force field in the middle of the map. He had a great moment when he cut up the army, sliced up the army of XY, but we needed more than that. And now we are getting into our next game. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to see if there are any other updates here. Do we have any qualified players? That's what I want to know. Oh, oh, I can't believe I'm missing out on this. It looks so good. Go Joey. My condolences to Ranger. He does get 2-0'd by Go Joey, and now Joey's up against Hon Mono in a qualifying match. Oh my god, that looks so fun. The most honorable of monorables. You love to see it. You love to see it. No. But alas, here we go. We are continuing in our upper qualifying match. to find out who does make it through in the end. And spawning. Oh, as I forgot to update the... There we go, the outer game. Beautiful. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Altitude, the largest map in the map pool. We have... Oh, as I should fix this as well. There we go. We have the Chinese Terran player currently leading this series 2-1, representing Invictus Gaming. It is XY. As I try to fix this. Bam, there we go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Altitude, we have his opponents. We have the Chinese Protoss player representing Mystery Gaming. It is SCV. AKA Barcode. Smooch. Smooch, puppy, smooch. Oh boy, but yeah, pretty back and forth series overall. I am worried though for SCV here. We are in the largest map in the map pool. We're on Altitude, and I feel like a map like this is where XY can thrive. In saying that though, because it's so large, it does mean that we can go for some more cheeky play. There's a lot of room, there's a lot of bases, a lot of areas that we can take advantage of the map and go for things like proxies, go for not just from the Protoss, but also from the Terran as well. Proxy stargates or proxy gateways, some form of aggression. Can it be quite popular here in this matchup? From the Terran side of things, it is quite popular to throw down like a proxy starport, for example, and go for a Hellion drop. Something along those lines. But before that happens, once again we do see a Rax expand coming out from XY. This time he is getting his CC on location, nicely centered in that lovely circle. You'll love to see it. Because this map is so large, the probe wasn't able to get there in time. So XY is able to get his CC up and running. Meanwhile, he did not skip his Reaper. Sorry, he did skip his Reaper. Oh, my apologies. And we were just talking about it. Look, I know my TvP. Sorry, I know my cheese. We were just talking about how proxy starport is pretty common and pretty popular on Altitude. And we're seeing an add-on switch. We're going to be seeing some Hellions, and there is that proxy starport. Now, if I can predict it, SCV can predict it. That's the thing, right? Like, this is something that you need to be keeping your eye out for on Altitude. It is relatively common, and SCV isn't being active on the map. His Adept is staying at home, now moving out, to be fair. But there's no probe scout. There's nothing out here to look, and now I have to worry a little bit here for SCV about whether or not he's going to be ready for this. Here we go. The first Adept is moving out across the map. Will he get eyes on the Hellions? That is the question. Hellions are on the way. And the Adept is going to be able to go toe-to-toe with this Marine, at least. Marine is going to be going down. The Hellions have been revealed, and this is already a big scout. There is no other reason you would have this many Hellions unless you were going for a drop. Medevac is on the way. There we go. The Stalker is getting in position. SCV knows. He knows about the drop, but just because he knows doesn't mean he can stop it. That's the reality of the situation. Now have two Stalkers patrolling. We have a shield battery on the way as well in the mineral line. The drop comes in. But the Stalkers are here in position. Oh my god, the probes! Oh, we're not really pulling any of these workers, and a lot of probes are going to be going down. Very minimal reaction here, and I think that may just be his downfall. 9 probes, 10, 11? 11 probes fall to the Hellion drop. Well worth it for XY. The starport is floating back home. The damage has been done, and we're not stopping here. The Medevac survived and is meeting up with some Widow Mines that waddled across the map. It is a 1-2 punch. First the Hellion drop, followed by the Widow Mines. We have an armory. Detection is required. Oh. Oh no. Up. Oh, a late reaction here. It looks like mines are going to be going off. Only 2 probes go down. Oh, and the Medevac gets focused down with a Widow Mine inside. And here comes that observer. So, oh my god, another one of my waddling in. Jesus Christ. It wasn't even a drop. He just walked in. Walked into the natural like he owned the place. Oh, I just gotta scuttle away. What a Chad. What a boss Widowmine, mate. My god. No fear. No fear. But the Widowmine drop was handled very nicely from SCV. The Hellion drop not as much, but at least, you know, he's able to minimize some of his other losses. Meanwhile, we have a transition point, and this is interesting. We had Blink, sure. We don't have a Bay. We don't have Colossus. Instead, we have a Gateway Explosion alongside Charge. So we're going for a more Swarm Toss composition, a Gateway style, if you will. Very Haas-esque, very Haas-esque. Interesting. As there are more gates being thrown down. So with this kind of composition, you're not going to be prioritizing your gases. We're going to be relying a lot more on Zealots, and we're going to be hoping for XY to move out on the map, because Zealots are kind of like Zerglings. They want to engulf the army, they want to surround the army. They struggle pushing into entrenched positions, they struggle attacking bases, but these big fights are where Zealots do excel. Meanwhile, XY is going for this bio-tank style once again, reminiscent to game 1, to even the last game that we saw. Oof. Mind shot going to be going off on those Stalkers. And we'll see if XY decides to... Oh my god. He's going for a 2-base all-in. 2 more Raxes have been thrown down, hidden behind the natural and the main base. What has gone into XY this game? He is just hyper-aggressive as opposed to his usual calm, cool, collected macro self. He just wants to get into the face of his opponent. Stim and Combat Shields is done. +1 as well. We're going to be sending everything. Are we going to pull the boys? We may even pull some workers here. XY going to go for a massive push across the map, designed to end the game. And unfortunately, oh, this is going to be scouted. SCV, he does spot the army. Does see it moving out. Behind this, XY can take his third on location. But this is still very committed. Stalkers are here to slow him down. A couple of Marines are going to get picked off. Nicely done by SCV. He has to try and do whatever he can to slow down the army. Zealots are going to be waiting here as well. And there's the boys. Yep. It looked like he would pull the boys, especially with no add-ons here on these racks. As the boys are being pulled, we are completely all in. XY, the game will end one way or the other. Either XY wins or SCV. Here we go. It's all going to come down to one big push. Zealots are wreaking havoc in the main base. The tanks are sieging up. The Zealots are coming in from behind, but XY spots this. He does scan. He does spot that army. He has to be very careful not to allow these tanks to go down to the Zealots. We have another massive warp in of Stalkers, of Zealots. Here we go. XY does rotate back around to protect them. Oh, we have Stalkers towards the right. Mate, SCV is setting up a 360 surround right now. And XY's on a timer. He's got to go. But if he unsieges, then he's going to be collapsed upon. And there we go. He takes down the natural. He's going for the third base. He has to siege. And there we go. He will siege in time. We have an overcharge being popped. Stalkers coming from behind as well. Do we have enough fire? Do we have enough Marines? It looks like the Zealots are getting out of control. Up, up. Oh, never mind. The Zealots almost got on top of the tanks. 2 tanks survive. GG gets called. And XY takes game number 4 and the series 3-1. Ooh, GG. A very different XY here in game number 4. Something we don't see too often at all. Oh, and that is, of course, going for a 2-base all-in. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to XY as he does take the series. Oh, and he qualifies for the main event for ESL Masters Asia. Very, very well done. Oh. And with that, we have to take a moment here to take a look at the bracket and figure out what exactly has been going on.